What is going on, everybody? I am back today to give you the next installment in my list video, and we're going to be talking about the best films of 2025 so far. We are getting close to the midway point of the year, and at this point in the year, I always kind of go back and do my favorite films that I've watched the year so far. And what I will say about 2025 in comparison to other years is I feel like my list is a lot slimmer than recent years. Normally, I feel like at this time I'd have probably 20 films on my list of like the 60 to 70 new releases that I've watched, or however many I've watched so far this year of the 200 plus movies I've seen this year so far. I figured that there'd be a lot more, but I have 14 on this list right now that I consider to be the best or the ones that I have enjoyed the most. And I've released my most underrated and my worst of the year list, and I hope you guys have been enjoying those. And as always, I would love if you would leave your favorites in the comments below so that maybe I can watch some things that I haven't seen yet. And obviously, I haven't seen every new release this year so far. I have seen a lot, but I haven't seen every single one. But I want to jump into this list right now and give you so far my 14 favorite films of the year. So coming in at number 14 is Paddington in Peru, or Paddington 3. This was one of the earliest films that I watched this year in the first couple of months, and I loved this. I don't think it's nearly as good as the first two Paddington films, but there's something about these movies, at least to me personally, that brings me a ton of joy. And I found this movie to still have the same level of charm and whimsy and really incredible humor with some fantastic performances. And I think, like, even though these films are aimed more towards children, there's something that even adults can appreciate. I feel like it has a wholesome quality that doesn't feel cheesy or over the top. Like, it feels incredibly authentic, which is something that I can appreciate about the filmmakers of these Paddington movies. It's one that I'm looking forward to revisiting at some point this year because it just brings me a lot of joy. Coming in at number 13 is Novocaine. I never would have guessed in a million years that this movie would have been on my list as one of my favorite films of the year. But I think for the concept and what it's trying to achieve, it nails it brilliantly. I had a really incredible audience that I watched this with, and everyone was just having a great time. It doesn't necessarily do anything new, but what it sets out to do works incredibly well. I think because of Jack Quaid and Amber Midthunder, this movie works very well. Their chemistry is fantastic. I've really grown to appreciate Jack Quaid and his ability as an actor. I think that he's incredibly charming in this movie, and obviously when things take a very intense, action-packed turn, I think he adapts to that situation incredibly well. It's just a fun kind of turn your brain off type of movie that has a lot of attention to detail and the violent elements. There's some really grisly gore in it, and I just had a lot of fun with this movie. Coming in at number 12 is the film Sacramento. This is like an indie comedy drama that has Michael Cera and Kristen Stewart in it. It really took me by surprise. I didn't know what to expect when I first watched this movie, but I really thought the sense of humor was great. It's very dry, but I also found the conversations surrounding parenthood and kind of growing up and being an adult and having to take on that responsibility of parenthood from two characters that are experiencing it in a very different way worked really well. It's beautifully shot. I feel like it has a really brief runtime that's incredibly effective in how it utilizes its runtime, and it's just a really great overlooked indie film of the year so far. Coming in at number 11 is Clown in a Cornfield. This is how you do a slasher movie. It's not necessarily reinventing the wheel by any means, but it writes very likable characters. There's a great chemistry between the lead character and her dad, which I feel like is an enormous crux of the film. It has really great setting and environment. It has really grisly kills, and it's just truly a fun experience. I'm a huge fan of these books. I was curious as to how it was going to translate into film. This was some of the most fun I had with a horror movie all year so far. Just a really entertaining time. And as far as like slashers go this year, there's been some really bad ones. There were ones on my worst of the year list. This is hands down the best slasher that was released this year so far. And at number 10 is Black Bag, the Steven Soderbergh movie. I loved this. It was sleek, stylish, sexy with a ton of great performances, but especially Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett. I feel like so much of this movie was less about about the government espionage and much more about the relationship between these two characters and kind of the using the government and the way that it operates as an allegory for these people's marriage. I just thought that it was very well executed. I think Steven Soderbergh is an incredibly talented director who's already released 2 films this year, which I thought was incredibly impressive. This was just a ton of fun, and I'd highly recommend it. Coming in at number 9 is Companion. This is probably the most fun that I've had at the theater all year, especially with the audience that I was around. I saw this the Thursday night opening premiere, and it was a blast. I think Sophie Thatcher is a star. She is incredible in this movie, and I really think she is what kept me gripped to the screen, just in what we learn about her character and how the character adapts throughout the runtime. Just truly a fantastic performance, and Jack Quaid was great in this as well, and the way that his character sort of reacts to certain situations, and as we learn more about who he is. It's suspenseful, it's thrilling, it's violent, it's also incredibly hilarious. It's a movie that I feel like had a somewhat tepid reaction when it was first released, but I loved this. I thought it was incredibly entertaining, and I can't wait to watch it again. Coming in at number 8 is Bong Joon-ho's newest film, Mickey 17, another film that had a pretty tepid reaction from fans of Bong Joon-ho, but I thought this was incredible. It was very funny. I didn't expect it to be as absurdly funny as it was. I loved Robert Pattinson's performance in this movie, especially how each iteration of Mickey had an incredibly distinct personality difference. That worked really well. I loved the creature design in this. There's a lot of allegory about politics in this, and obviously there is a huge shot with Mark Ruffalo's character at the current administration in the United States of America, which I thought was incredibly poignant and really well executed. It's really over the top in moments. It's very funny, but it also has that true, raw, emotional core that Bong Joon-ho is known for. Just a really great time at the movies. Coming in at number 7 is the Mike Leigh film, Hard Truths. This movie was fantastic with incredible performances throughout about a character who is unnaturally angry, and we learn throughout the movie why she does not have the greatest relationship with her husband and her son, which causes her to act out because she feels like she can't do anything besides live the life that she's currently living, even though she wants something so much more. I just thought it was very beautiful and poignant, really hard-hitting, and definitely an overlooked movie of the year. Coming in at number 6 is the film Bob Trevino Likes It. This is a movie that is hardly being talked about at all, and it could easily move itself up higher in this list. One of the most authentic films emotionally that I've watched all year long. It is about a young woman who has a horribly emotionally abusive relationship with her father, where her father treats her like complete garbage because her mother was a drug addict and left their family, and because he took on sole parenthood of his child, he feels that he's entitled to use her for money or whatever, and it's really horrible to watch. And eventually the two of them have a separation in their relationship, but she has been so emotionally abused and she is attached to him that she goes to seek him out on the internet, thinks that she finds his Facebook profile, but it's not. It's just a man with the same name as her father, and the two of them strike up a relationship and a bond that helps her grow as a person. I thought it was so beautiful and empathetic. It has some phenomenal dialogue, really great performances, just a story about empathy and compassion for other human beings that I think resonates in a way that feels incredibly authentic and not just hokey and sappy. I can't recommend this movie enough, and I've talked about it a ton this year already. Coming in at number 5 is the film Friendship. I love Tim Robinson. I thought this was arguably the funniest movie of the year. Just ridiculous, over-the-top, brash comedy. I think him and Paul Rudd have really great chemistry. Some of the most absurd scenes in a movie that I've watched all year long. I laughed so hard I almost cried in multiple moments. I've been thinking about it ever since I watched it the first time. It's truly just a brilliant comedic film, and I think if you like Tim Robinson or you like really brash, absurd comedy, you'll find something to appreciate with Friendship. Coming in at number 4 is The Life of Chuck from Mike Flanagan. This is one of the more recent new films that I've reviewed, and I absolutely loved this movie. Some people called this really sappy and inauthentic. I thought that it was incredibly authentic and very moving. A film about when everything in life is not going your way, when the worst things imaginable could possibly be thrown at you, to kind of step back and think about just what a small chance and possibility it was for you to even exist. on the planet at the time that you do, and how when you're presented with moments of joy, to embrace them to the fullest and appreciate them. I cried so many times while I watched this movie. It's filled with amazing performances. I think that in the current state of the world that we're living in and how dour and depressing that it is, movies like this need to exist, and it's one that I can't wait to watch again. Coming in at number 3 is Wes Anderson's newest film, The Phoenician Scheme. I loved this movie. I know that a lot of Wes Anderson fans and people that are just cinephiles in general had kind of a moderate reaction to this. I thought it was absolutely hilarious, one of Wes's funniest films in recent memory. I loved the father-daughter relationship in this. The set pieces were brilliant as usual, but some of the best comedic gags in all of Wes's filmography. What I love about Wes is he's able to create these worlds that I never want to leave, and these characters that I think are just absolutely incredible. There's amazing performances from top to bottom. It's just truly charming, whimsical, funny, and sometimes overtly violent, which I always love when Wes kind of leans into the violence in his films. It's a movie I can't wait to watch again. Coming in at number 2 is Ryan Coogler's newest film, Sinners. I loved this movie. It is one of the best horror movies of the year with some phenomenal performances. And what I love is it's a great vampire movie. Like, it's very it's very stunning visually. Like I said, remarkable performances, the production design, the look of the vampires. But what I love so much about this, and I talked very heavily about it in my review, is that it's a celebration of Black excellence. It is a movie showcasing the importance of the Black community to art and music specifically, and how other cultures and people have tried to steal from Black art and kind of appropriate it as their own. And I think that's a central focus of the movie that resonates so incredibly beautifully as the movie goes onward. I just loved the performances in this. I thought it was truly stunning. It has some darkly comedic moments, but it's also very gripping dramatically. Just a really wonderful film, an incredible experience that I had in a Dolby Cinema screen with some of the best sound you could possibly imagine. It's a movie I haven't stopped thinking about since I watched it, and it is one of the best movies of the year. But at number 1, my favorite film that I have watched this year so far is Bring Her Back, from the Philippou brothers, who I think are two of the most incredibly talented directors in horror right now. This is bleak as shit. This is one of the most dour, depressing, upsetting movies that I've watched in quite some time, and that is exactly what I want in horror movies. I love directors that are not afraid to pull any punches, and they don't leave anything in this movie at all. Like, it is going to show you some of the most disturbing, upsetting, unsettling imagery that you can imagine. It is a story about grief and loss, very similar to Talk to Me, but in a different way, especially when it comes to a mother who has lost her child, who is willing to go to any lengths to see their child again. And I think that it's really interesting psychologically when you think about that, because when it comes to grief and human beings experiencing grief, a lot of times we can't let go. It's really hard to. And the best thing that we can do as people is try to grab a hold on to those really great memories we had of those people while they're alive, because you cannot bring someone back to life. And this movie looks at it on the inverse of, like, well, what if you could, and what if you could try? Would they even be the same person again? And I just really was moved by this. I thought it was beautiful. It has one of the best endings to a movie I've seen all year long. I cannot wait to see what these guys do next. So what are your favorite films of the year so far? What do you think are the best movies of 2025? Let me know in the comments. I love these movies. I would stand behind each and every one of them, and I think you should check them all out. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot. Lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material, and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.